With Chris Tanev being traded to the Dallas Stars, Brad Treliving is having to pivot very quickly with only 1 week left before the trade deadline. Are the Leafs going to make a big splash, or are they going to stand pat? We will find out. There are some interesting Leaf lineup news heading into the game tonight against the Coyotes, and Sheldon Keefe has been fined by the league. All of that and more in this episode of Leafs Digest. Welcome back to Leafs Digest. My name is Darius Domingues, and we've noticed that about 80% of the viewers of this channel are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to do yourself a favor and make myself and Nick happy, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything Toronto Maple Leafs. And you're going to want to, because there is 1 week left until the trade deadline. It is going to get very exciting very quickly, and let's get right into it. There are going to be timestamps in this video, so if you want to skip to something along in the video, go ahead and do that. But first of all, the Leafs versus the Coyotes tonight. There are some interesting lineup changes and one familiar face we have not seen in about 3 months. Joseph Woll is going to make the start. He was the first goaltender off the ice for today's morning skate, and he's projected to make his first start since December 3rd, well before Christmas. We have not seen Joseph Woll in some time, and it looks like the Leafs are going to keep all 3 goalies up on the main roster as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how they divvy up the starts going forward. In my eyes, Joseph Woll is still the starting goaltender of this team, but there might be some rust. He did look good with the Marlies in a little stint last week. It was only 1 game, so I'd love to see what he has at the NHL level. And what a great, time to get the test against the Arizona Coyotes, who have not won in, I think, at least 13 or 14 games. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he is able to do. And furthermore, we from Darren Dreger, we saw Tavares in discomfort on the bench on Tuesday in the last game, which has fueled some speculation, which we talked about on the channel as well a few days ago, that there is an injury situation. However, after checking with the team and the agent, I'm told there's nothing health-wise going on with JT. And I mean, sometimes players like this go through struggles, and JT is going through that at this moment. He had that large stretch of games where he didn't score. He finally got back on the board, and he's been okay since. And it looks like there is some discomfort, but I mean, probably nothing serious. And I know the agent and the team is probably not going to say anything anyways, even if he was injured. But, a lot of guys get bumps and bruises anyway. So he's probably in some discomfort, but maybe nothing serious. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on too. I mean, he did look like he was in a lot of discomfort the other night, so that was something definitely to keep an eye on. And, with this game going forward as well, Sheldon Keefe has said that TJ Brodie is moving back to the right side. Pause for the groans from the fans. On the pairing with Morgan Rielly. To me, he played better on the left side as of late, but we're in a jam right now. When you're in a jam like this, you just have to fall on what has worked for you over time, and that is from Sheldon Keefe. And I mean, he has said it's worked over time, and, it really hasn't worked as of late. TJ Brodie looked great on the left side with Morgan Rielly serving his suspension, and now that he, is back in the lineup, Brodie did stay on the left side. Rielly moved to the right in the last game. That didn't work, and now they're going back to the Rielly on the left side, Brodie on the right side. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in tonight's game to see if that kind of works out. But Timothy Liljegren is going to miss the game as well tonight, so that's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on. Is it a serious injury? Even more of a reason to go out, and we're going to get into it later in the video, to get a right-handed defenseman, because you are 1 injury away from icing a team with 6 left shot defensemen, which they're going to do for the 2nd straight game tonight. It's not good enough. They need to get a right shot defenseman. I don't care who it is at this point. Could be my uncle. They have to get somebody who shoots right on the back end there. All right. So last thing about the game tonight, which I thought was pretty interesting, is the last time the Leafs beat the Coyotes in regulation in Toronto was on October 17th, 2002, on Matthew Nye's birthday. So wouldn't it be fitting, Matthew Nye is also from Arizona, wouldn't it be fitting if he scored tonight and they won in regulation at home against the Arizona Coyotes? That would be fantastic. And I mean, the Leafs need to right the ship. Obviously, 7-game winning streak, fantastic. You lose 1 game, you try not to panic, but it'd be nice to start another 7 or 8-game winning streak starting tonight. That would be fantastic. So we'll keep an eye on that, certainly heading into tonight's game. Now, something that just dropped and I thought was crazy, because I thought nothing was really going to come of it, is Sheldon Keefe has been fined by the league $25,000 for his actions at the end of the last game on Tuesday night. And if you take a look here from David Alter, Sheldon Keefe has been fined $25,000 by the NHL for unprofessional conduct directed at the officials that resulted in a game misconduct. And I mean, coaches get heated all the time. I can't remember the last time I saw a coach get kicked out. It could have been this year. I don't know. I just can't remember the last time he got kicked out. And it looked very subdued compared to, a few of the coach ejections I've seen, even in other sports, right? It looked very subdued. It didn't look like he said anything. I don't know what he said. That's the thing. It depends what he said. But it didn't look like he was over the top or, he was grilling the ref a little bit, but I even thought in the moment to kick him out over that is a little bit ridiculous, because at the end of the day, if you're a ref and you're getting your feelings hurt, I'm sorry, man, you're in the wrong sport, right? And I mean, he did make a bad call. It was a terrible call, and Sheldon Keefe was letting him know that, right? So it depends what he said. We don't know what he said at that moment, so I guess that's where the fine comes in. But it seems like the league loves to make an example out of the Leafs. That's what this looks like to me. $25,000 fine. We don't even know what he said. That is pretty insane, and we're gonna keep an eye on that. See how Sheldon Keefe, plays nice tonight with the officials probably. And he did have a great quote on Twitter as well earlier this morning, saying it's a learning experience for him too. He probably shouldn't blow up in moments like that and keep his composure. Although I do like that from a Leafs coach. I thought Pat Quinn was pretty subdued as well. At sometimes he did get angry, but sometimes, he knew when to cool it. And Sheldon Keefe is probably learning that line as well. But, for so many years of Sheldon Keefe looking like he didn't really care, not that he didn't care, but, not any of these big reactions. I love the emotion from the Leafs coach. So that has been fantastic as well. And finally, with the news of Chris Tanev being traded to the Dallas Stars, the Leafs need to find a new trade target, and they need to find it very quick. Brad Treliving will not be sleeping much the next couple of days, because he needs to find a new trade partner. He needs to find it quickly, and he needs to find a suitable fit for the Leafs. It needs to be a right shot defenseman. And I thought this was interesting from Sheldon Keefe earlier today too. He says that Brad Treliving and him are talking daily about the roster needs, and that the GM is busy making calls. He's doing all that he can to try and help our team, at the same time recognizing that the team's played really well, and they have. And I think that is kind of lending to the fact that maybe the Leafs shouldn't make a huge deal this year. Maybe they should just acquire exactly what they need and don't go over the top like they did last year. And I kind of think that's where they fall. I think they acquired guys like Domi and Bertuzzi to play well in the playoffs, and that's exactly, I'm hoping that's what they end up doing. But I think you have to rely on them a little bit more than bringing in other guys. And I think that's what the last part of the quote was, at the same time recognizing that the team has played really well. So maybe not putting all your eggs in one basket. Hopefully not. But who is the new trade target? I would like to hear from you guys in the comments as well. Who is the new trade target? Who would you like? I have a few, options that I like. Peak from Columbus might be a good option. You also have Adam Larson, could be a good option. Adam Larson's making the rounds on Twitter as well. But who would you like to see? I know there's a lot of opinions flying around on Twitter. I would prefer not a UFA, but if it is a UFA, the ability to re-sign that player, is that available? I think you need to look at that if you're Brad Treliving. And from earlier today as well, Elliot Friedman on the Jeff Merrick show says that Nick Jensen is also a name that the Leafs have kicked around a little bit. Another right shot guy, so that could be interesting, although Nick Jensen doesn't stand out quite as much as Adam Larson to me, let's say, or even Peak. Peak is a big physical player. I think that would be a good fit for the Leafs, so that would be interesting to watch as well. And if you take a look at Adam Larson's stats, not bad for the type of player he is. He's a little bit older now, right? And he only has 17 points in 58 games. But again, Seattle hasn't been fantastic this year. But this is a guy you could slot in with Morgan Rielly, and I think could work out quite well if you're the Leafs. So that'll be interesting to take a look at as well. But let me know in the comments what you think. Should it be Adam Larson? Should it be somebody else? Do you have somebody else in mind that I didn't mention? Nick and I will have another video either tonight or tomorrow with a few more options that the Leafs could go after, because the clock is ticking, ladies and gentlemen. We are officially 1 week away from the NHL trade deadline. So let me know what you think in the comments. And will the Leafs pick up a regulation win at home against the Coyotes tonight? Let's hope so. And Nick and I will see you for another video tomorrow.